Hi again, everybody. My name is Chuck Guglielmo, and welcome to another edition of Around the Town with Chuck, a weekly interview show where we talk with interesting people. And today we've got Clyde Laughlin with us, former teacher, former administrator,
yes,
former coach, and currently a wonderful grandfather. Welcome to Around the Town with Chuck.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I watch your show, and I think someday I'm going to be on that show, and here I am.
Been looking forward to it. Let's start with the grandfather part.
Oh boy, that's good.
We were at a anniversary. Your sister had an anniversary party last fall, I believe it was, around Thanksgiving time, and we were amazed, my wife and I, about your grandchildren, how they are all over you, and how much you show them in return. Something you don't see too much of today. Talk about your grandchildren a little bit.
I could talk. How much time you got?
We've got 30 minutes.
I have 6 grandchildren. Josie's the oldest, 11, and then Gino, who is 8. I'm going to get the right ages. And Anna will be 7 pretty soon. And then we got May and Cooper. Cooper and Owen are twins. We have Owen and Cooper. And then May, they're all 4. And that's the ones we spend the most of the time with, because we bring them here to the library. We bring them to preschool. And we take them to the Kingsville Library, so we spend a lot of time with them, and we just love them to death. They're great kids. We have a good time with them.
And you do a lot of babysitting, obviously.
We're often available, yes. We make sure we're available so we can have some good times with them. And at our house, I'm the fun one, and I don't mean that to be nasty, I'm sorry. But my wife is the one who's the not disciplinarian, but she's the one that makes sure they eat properly, and are very safe.
A little bit more stern.
Oh well, yeah. She makes sure they're safe, and I'm the one who's creating more of the chaos. I do that a lot. And
so if Grandma says no, they come to you. Do you say yes?
Yeah, and we go behind her back. But we enjoy them immensely.
Very nice. As I said, you were a former teacher. When did you start teaching, Clyde? I don't want you to give away your age, but I know it's.
The year was 1969.
Okay,
in the fall of 1969, I graduated. I started teaching at Monroe Elementary School. I taught there for 10 years. And that was a great experience. I loved the school. I loved the families out there, the kids. I still see a lot of the kids here and there, and we still we reminisce about old times, and it was a great school.
Of course, your wife, Ann, was also a teacher here in Conneaut.
Yes.
Was she also out at Monroe?
No, she started at Southeast Elementary. She taught there for probably, I think, 6 years, and then she went to West Main for 1 year, and then she took a hiatus, I guess you want to say, when we had our 2 daughters. So she didn't teach for like 6 or 7 years after that for a while.
And of course, now one of your daughters, I believe one is a teacher.
They're both teachers.
They're both teachers. Talk a little bit about Katie and
well, I'm sorry to say they teach in the Buckeye system.
Clyde, the biggest rival.
I know when they went to start teaching, they're wearing the red and gray, or burgundy and gray, or whatever it is.
Excuse me, both elementary?
Yes. And when they started working there, I said, boy, it's going to be hard to support my grandkids going to school there, but that's okay. One teaches at Ridgeville Elementary Kindergarten. That's Abby. And Katie teaches at Kingsville Elementary 3rd grade. And Abby's daughter goes to school at Ridgeview with her. She's in 1st grade. And then Katie's 2 oldest one, or the older ones, go to school with her at Kingsville.
And you were doing a little subbing there.
Yeah, I did.
Are you still doing it?
No. We have been doing it for a number of years. I didn't do it in Conneaut right away because I didn't know if I wanted to get back into the Conneaut school system right away.
Because familiarity?
Right. I thought, I want to do something a little different. So I started the Buckeye system, and that's why I just stayed there for I was there about 10 years off and on. It was a nice, people asked me, why did I do that? And I said, well, I had been a principal for 21 years. So I hadn't been in the classroom for quite a long time. So I decided I wanted to go back, and it was fun. It was great. There's some very good teachers in the Buckeye system, as well as in Conneaut too.
So 10 years you were at Monroe as a teacher, and then from there you went where? Why do I want to think you spent some time at Rowden?
I did.
You did? Okay.
I did. I was, when Mr. Gliffo, just before he retired, he knew that I had my degree in administration, and I had put some feelers out at different school systems, because I was looking to see if would like to move on, get into the idea of being a principal. And he called me up and said that at that time, I think that's when Gene Milko left, and Hop Ladder was moved to the high school, and there was a position at Rao as a Keith Timmons' assistant. And he wanted to know if I'd be interested, and I said, sure. And so I was over there for a year, and then I went to Chestnut the following year after that. So I was at junior high just 1 year.
So Monroe for 10, then Rao for 1, and then Chestnut. And you started in Chestnut in 1980?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know, I was there 20 years, so, and altogether, I had 31 years altogether, so the right date, I don't know exactly, it was the early 80s, yes.
So how was the administration filled compared to just being in the classroom? Did you like that role? Obviously, I would think you would if you applied for it.
I enjoyed it a lot. I tell you what, I found working at Chestnut that I think if I would have been able to observe a lot of those teachers before I started teaching, I would have been a better teacher, because there were some very good teachers, excellent teachers in that building, and I was very proud to be part of that. So I did enjoy watching that. Some of the the problems you have with maybe some discipline problems or incidents that happen or different things that was kind of difficult, and that wore on me sometimes. And another thing too, we were always constantly changing our focus. Okay, maybe we're going to try this approach, and then we get into that approach for a few years, and then the state would say, let's try something different. And then it was very, very hard to keep switching. I felt sorry for the teachers a lot, switching gears all the time and trying different approaches, because, the testing was just then starting to be the real focal point, which it is today. I know the last few weeks have been a big time in school testing, and it's very difficult. I feel sorry for the teachers and the kids today with that pressure of the testing. It's very hard.
Now, when you were at Chestnut as administrator, was that the whole 20 years you were there, was that always K through 6 building?
It was a K-6 building until they went to the middle school, and Chuck, I don't know what year it was, and then we went to K-5. I know when they closed Amboy School, we inherited a lot of those students. And then I think the year when they went to the middle school, they closed Monroe, and we took all Monroe kids. So we had over 600 kids in that building for a number of years.
That's a lot of kids.
Yeah, and the only person in charge was the secretary, Joanne, and I was her assistant. I used to tell her that all the time. But you were busy every day, busy day.
How many superintendents did you work for?
Okay, let's see. I started with Mr. Gliffo, and then Mr. Horwood. Then after Mr. Horwood was Jim Crawford, and then Rich Phil.
So you had 4 superintendents in about a 30-year.
In 20, yeah. I'm sorry.
All total, about 30 years or more.
In the 30 years. I'm sorry. When I first started teaching was. Oh my goodness, I can't think of the gentleman's name now. There was another gentleman. There was a Mr. Millar, I think, just before I started working, and then I can't think of their gentleman's name. There was one other gentleman that was there when I was started teaching.
Brubaker?
Yes, thank you. That's what it was. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Dr. Brubaker.
So you
worked for quite a few superintendents.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Very interesting career you had, Clyde. And then you were a coach.
Yes.
Softball coach, a very successful team. I want to say 2000, 2001 era.
Was 2000, and then the 2000 2001 team, excuse me, were very successful. Yeah, both those teams were very good.
Of course, that's the Conneaut High School Spartans softball team. And we're going to ask you to relive that, because Clyde brought us home a championship, a state championship.
Right, we did.
In that year. So, Clyde, I'm going to ask you to go around the diamond, starting with the catching.
Okay.
I see you brought your list here.
I did. I
was
wanted to make sure.
If I knew the players, and I don't remember them all, I know a few of them. And give a little description, summary of them. But start with your coaching staff.
Okay, what we had, Jody Pape was our, first of all, when I first started coaching, Gary Young was the JV coach, and he was there a couple of years, and then Jody Pape was the assistant, or she was the JV coach.
Now, is he at Edgewood right now? Gary
yes,
Young?
he's there helping my brother.
Yeah, okay.
My brother, Joel, in fact, he called me just before I came over here.
He's mad that you're here today.
Yeah, and he has a game tonight, and I was giving him a rah-rah speech about tonight a little bit, after the first year coaching, I was kind of trying to do everything myself, and it was very, very hard. It was very difficult to do everything you wanted to get done, and the time and everything. And So I knew that I had two people out there, two young men out there that I wanted to go get and see if they'd give me a hand. And one was Steve Kudlock, and another one was Chuck Hurt.
Of course, Steve Kudlock, a great ball player.
A great ball player. I tell you what, I don't think there was another ball player in that town that could have played ball like he could. Softball, baseball.
Professional ball?
Yes, he did. He was in the minor leagues playing ball. Yes, he was. He's the only person I ever know down the slow pitch down here. That's when the league was big. That he caught a ball at the fence and threw a guy out tagging on third base to home.
Oh, wow.
He had a rifle on him. But I approached Steve and I said, "Hey, Steve, I can't pay you anything. Would you like to do this?" "Oh, yeah, I'll help you." Went to Chuck. And I said, "Chuck, I need him." And he goes, "Sure, sure." And those two guys for the next 4 years, I think the next 4 years I did that, they came to every practice, every game, rode the bus with us. They were there. Every place we were, they were there. So, and I really do appreciate their help. So they were very, 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 very helpful with practicing on the field, coaching bases, whatever I needed them to do. And it was. Yeah, they were very, very, very helpful. So and also, I should have mentioned Jim Tuttle. When his daughter was the mainstay, Adrian, when she was the big pitcher when she was a freshman, she was all through high school, but Jim was my pitching coach, and I never called him that. He just took on that role because he knew his daughter, and he knew how she could pitch and what she could do, and so he took care of that for me, and his wife came along, and she was my scorekeeper. So I got a lot of people involved, and I thank God that they were there because they sure helped me a lot.
I'm sure when you go through the roster,
yeah.
Quite to say about Adrian, because she was one of the better pitchers
I
ever
tell you what.
Conneaut High School, and her sister as well.
Robin played ball for me too, and she has an older sister that played when my daughters were in high school. Yes, so it's quite a family of softball players.
So you coached Conneaut softball for how many years?
5 years. That's all.
5 years. Mm-hmm. And you enjoyed every year.
I'm sorry?
You enjoyed every year of it.
I enjoyed every year. It was tough at times. Softball it's a little bit difficult season, meaning that when you start the season, sometimes you don't get outside until it's your first game.
Yeah.
Because you're in the gym the whole time because it's cold.
Cold, rainy.
I remember the first year I coached. I tell people this all the time that I wore long johns until the middle of May. It was just cold. You go to games and it'd be snowing, that kind of thing. So that's a little bit tough for the girls, and I feel sorry for them. In the same way with the boys baseball team, they have to do that. I always thought that they should have softball and baseball in the fall.
I've said that too, but football in
yeah, something
March
different. It just doesn't make any sense to me, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah. How about time consumption? Because you were still teaching at you were an administrator at the time.
Yeah, there was Phil. I had applied for the job a year before I got it, and there was some discussion on should I or shouldn't I, blah blah. And we sat down, Rich and I, and we talked about it, and I told him what I would do and what and so he went along with it, and it was pretty good. I would leave just about bus time at our school, which is a great time to leave. And I had a lot of volunteers in my building that would take over my position as far as helping with the buses and such. So I would sneak out right at dismissal, and then that's about the only time I'd miss, unless we went very, very far to a game, and then I'd have to leave a little bit early. But other than that, it worked out okay.
Well, like I say, you made Conneaut very proud as you brought home a state championship. So why don't you go around the diamond? Tell us who played where and how they did for you, what their main role was.
Okay. It's funny, I mentioned that my brother told me on the phone, he says, "Why is Chuck talking to you about this 16 years ago?" And I said, "Has it been that long?" Because I relive a lot of these games daily. I think about it. When I go to a softball game, I relive a lot of it, especially that last few games. It was just amazing. I wish I could go back and relive it again and really enjoy it. But I had, our catcher was Amy Solar. She was a sophomore at the time when we won the championship. And she was like my number 5 hitter, okay?
Power hitter.
She could hit the ball hard. She got a great arm. And she very seldom had anybody stealing on her. Because, she had a pretty good arm. And she was a good hitter. First base, I had Kelly Herb. Kelly she had a great glove. She I don't think she had any errors at all the whole time I was there. She just was a very, very, very steady first baseman, great, and she was a decent hitter too. I had Jessica Olmsted at second base, and Jessica probably hit the ball harder than anybody on that team, and she was just an excellent ball player. And she's an excellent athlete, you know, Jessica, because
basketball.
Her first love was basketball, and I think she did softball just to be with her friends, and thank God she did, because she was very good.
Now, she also was a power hitter, right?
Oh boy, she could hit the ball, yeah. She could hit the ball hard. And, yeah.
Go back to first base just for a minute. Question with Kelly, her now proud mother herself.
Yes.
And her grandmother was one of your biggest fans of the Conneaut Spartans. Say something about her.
Oh boy, she was at every game. And she lived and breathed our team. And well, I tell you what, she bought treats for the kids. The girls would always, and they all went to her. It was like she owned. I mean, she was like the grandmother to them all. I mean, every girl on the team would go over and talk to her and such. But yeah, she was quite a lady, super lady. She was right there.
Absolutely.
With Carol right there watching every Nana. She was such a nice person too, and she knew the game.
Yes, she did.
If something wasn't going quite right, you could look at her face and you knew that she was not happy.
She would tell me, "Googie, you watch. She's going to get hit right over there, right center field."
Likewise, my mother used to go to all my games.
Yes, she did.
And she's a big Indians fan, as you know.
Yes.
Yeah. And I can remember one time when we were at a game and there was a close play at home, and they called the girl safe, and it was against, our call was against us anyhow. And I started ranting and raving to the umpire because I said, "You missed it, she missed it, blah, 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 blah," and all that stuff. And I turned around, and my mother's looking at me, shaking her, going, I embarrassed the heck out of her by being a fool.
Did you know the umpire?
We've talked since, and I can't think of all their names. I think his name was Rick, and I can't think of his last name right now. But anyhow, we talked afterwards, and
You're still going with a bad call, though, right?
oh yeah, it was definitely a bad call.
Too bad we didn't have review.
Yeah, no, didn't have it then, no. Okay, shortstop, Charcuterie, and she was Miss Softball. I mean, that was her game, and she loved the game. I've never seen a girl that had the glove that she had. I mean, she could catch anything. I mean, she made a lot of saving catches and hit. She was a real student of the game.
She was the Omar Vizquel, wasn't she?
She was. That's the number she had too. She wanted.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, she wanted number 13 because she wanted to be Omar. And
Also a basketball player.
oh yes. Yeah. But her first love is softball.
Softball.
The difference between her and Jessica. Yeah. Jessica and Char were very, very good friends, close friends, always together. And but yeah, she was a good athlete. Good athlete also. On this team also we had Jessica Lute at third base. She was a senior at that time.
Lute, okay, there's one I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I see her periodically because I run into her mother quite often, and she's got, I think she got 2 children, I think. And anyhow, it's just so funny to see these girls. I still think of them as being in high school, and here they got children now.
Third base, you said she played?
Yeah, she played third base.
Third base.
She was a very, very good third baseman, excellent third baseman. And then the outfield we had, left field we had Jody Lute, Jessica's sister, and she was a very good outfielder. She played left field for us, and I'll explain that in a second here why she was in left field. And then Hallie Baker. Hallie Baker is probably one of the. She played center field for us. Great bunter. She could move on the bases. She was very smart in the base pass. And she was a very smart outfielder, and she's probably the best outfielder I've seen in that area because she could get a jump on the ball. She could just tell where that ball was going to go, and she made a couple of neat plays where people were leading off second base, and she'd sneak up behind them, and they'd aim to throw the ball, boom, boom, she'd be out leading off, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Stuff you really can't. You can teach it, but some of that stuff but these girls you didn't have to teach. They knew it. And in right field we had Michelle White, who was probably my all-around, probably my MVP, only because she would play anywhere you asked her to play. She'd pitch. She pitched quite a bit for me. But she had a rifle arm, and I put her in right field.
She was also a good pitcher.
She was an excellent pitcher. Yeah. But she played right field for us down the stretch, in the championship stretch, because many times if they did hit Adrian, because Adrian threw that ball fast. I mean, she threw the ball. It would be a shot to right field. And she'd often throw people out at first base on a ground ball because she had this rifle on her. I mean, wow, could she throw? She could throw a ball through a wall. She was very good. So that was basically the team we had out there. And I had Stephanie Brown, who was a DH. She often batted for either Adrian or Jody Lute, and she was an excellent hitter. And then the following year, when Kelly graduated, she took over at first base. She was a very good first baseman, too.
Now, Clyde, you had the kind of team that could win a game 2-1 if you had to, and you could outslug somebody and win 13-10 if you had to. Obviously, because you had the pitching, and sometimes if the hitting went awry, you had that pitching, and vice versa, right?
Oh yeah, we had some unusual games. When I started out that year that they won the state championship, I had 3 pitchers: Stephanie Brown, Michelle White, and Adrian Tuttle, and I would rotate them in that way so that in high school softball rules. I don't think it's changed. I know they changed the distance. I think it's 43 feet as opposed to 40 feet when I was coaching. But a girl can pitch every inning, every game. One girl.
I was going to ask you that because I've been watching the box scores and I see for Jefferson when I followed them, it's the same pitcher all the time.
They can pitch every inning, every game.
Wow, how is that on their arm?
Well, it's more of a natural motion than throwing overhand like the boys with the curves and all this kind of stuff. I would notice a difference in some of our girls. Usually the second game, if they were going to hit Adrian very far or very hard, it was always the second game, and she was a little bit tired. But she,
But you had that luxury too. With
Yeah.
the 3 good pitchers you had that you didn't have to pitch Adrian every day.
And the thing is, they were all a little bit different. I mean, Stephanie was a precision pitcher. She could hit spots very easily, but she didn't throw hard. And that would throw teams off. And you pitch her in there, and they couldn't hit her because it was a lot slower. They're used to somebody that's. Now Michelle White was in the middle. She could throw the ball decent speed, but not as fast as Adrian. I mean, Adrian could throw the ball hard. So, I did use all those 3 until we got into the tournament. Once we got into the regionals, districts. Once we got into districts that year. It was Adrian all the rest of the way through. We didn't use anybody else. Of course, I can remember a discussion we had on the way to a game. We had just beaten to get into the district final. We had just beaten Lakeview Cortland 5-2, and that was a team that the year before, when my daughter was still there, she was a senior. We played them something like 15 innings or something like that, and lost 2-1 or something like that.
I vaguely remember that.
And then the following year we played them again in the district, and it was 7-inning game before we ended up winning. But Adrian pitched. It was an 8-inning game, I guess it was. I can't remember, but she pitched the whole thing. And then the very next night we had to play Edgewood, our arch rival, for the district championship. And on the way to the game, there's Steve and Chuck and I are having this discussion: who are we going to pitch? And we all picked a different person. No, there was no consensus.
That's because of how all 3 of them were.
They were all very good.
You had confidence in all 3 of them winning that game.
But I remember that I went ahead and I decided and I don't know who suggested it, but I went with Adrian, and she pitched a masterful game. She did an excellent job. And I remember Dave Miller-Ragnar, who was coaching the Edgewood team afterwards, he goes, "I can't believe it. I watched your game last night, and that girl's got a bionic arm. She can't. She never lets up. She just keeps throwing." So, yeah.
So back then you were, Conneaut, of course, was in the Northeastern Conference back
Yes.
then, which no longer exists. Who were some of the teams that gave you battles in the Northeastern Conference?
Edgewood always was tough. My first couple years coaching, Harvey had an excellent pitcher, and they were very good. Harbor was always tough for us. Back then, Bodner, Paul Bodner, he was a coach. And
For Harbor?
Yeah, he was. He coached Harbor for a number of years, and I always said that when I could beat him, I felt good because he was a very, very good coach. Harbor was tough. In Geneva, actually, the year we won the state championship, we went up to Geneva riding high because all we needed to do, we had 2 more games left, and all we had to do was win one of those. We won the NEC, and we were into the tournament anyway. And the Geneva beat us. They always played us tough up there. We played at their field up there. It was always hard. No matter what kind of team they had, they played hard up there. They played good ball up there. So, yeah, Geneva was tough for us, and always Edgewood. Back then, Edgewood had a very, very good team.
Because of the rivalry?
The rivalry, and they had a lot of good ball players. Oh, they had a lot of good ball players.
Was Drzelinski on their team?
Yes, when I was.
She was a good athlete
she was
as well.
super. Yeah, they were very, very good. And the thing was, the girls in Conneaut and the girls in Edgewood played a lot of summer ball together, so they were good friends and as well as enemies when it came to this game. I mean, good enemies, but it was those games were tough.
Of course, in that sport, like you said, some games get canceled because of cold weather and rain.
Yes.
Then you had to play double headers. When you played a double header, did you ever use the same pitcher in both games? Maybe not to start, but came in relief or something. Do you recall?
No, I didn't. No, I can. No, I did not. No, we would rotate at that time. When you get into the tournament, that was the only time I ever used just Adrian solely. That was it. Mm-hmm. And other than that, no. We switch. Would not be a problem.
Let me close with this, Clyde. Besides the state championship, because obviously that was all of our thrill, and the postseason, just in regular season play, what would you take away as one of your biggest memories from your team?
Biggest memories? I tell you what, one of the biggest memories, I remember when I first took the job, I had a dream one night that I was in a state championship game. And it was really spooky, and I woke up and I think, wow.
Dream come true.
And it did come true. I mean, you think, wow, that's something else. One of the most positive things I saw, when I first started, I think our first year we were 7-9. And the last year I coached, we were like 20-2 or 21. And I think the last year I coached, we only lost 2 games, but the second game was in the district finals to Walsh Jesuit. They beat us 1-0, and that took us out of the tournament. But I was just so pleased at how the program had gotten so much more competitive. I mean, we were the elite team in the area. I mean, everybody wanted to play us.
No question about it.
I would get calls from boardmen. I would get calls from schools all over the place wanting to know if we could scrimmage or get us on their schedule. We were invited to tournaments in Columbus, during the season, so we could, because of the competition. Because that made me feel very proud of the girls. I mean, they improved a great deal.
When you came back with that state trophy, how did the city of Conneaut support you guys?
Oh, I tell you what, that was. I get goosebumps now thinking about it, because we pulled in the Kmart parking lot, and it was just people everywhere. I mean, I was just amazed. Tom Knott had a lot to do with this. What a guy he was. He was so supportive of the girls' team. But everybody showed up, and when we got off the bus, they were just cheering us so much. And they had lined up all these convertibles. And all the girls got on convertibles, and the coaches, and they drove us all the way through town. And it just so happens we ended up back at the high school, and people were there too. It was like a throng, people everywhere. It was like Irvin Meyer going someplace, I guess. I felt so, wow. And I had left my truck, I remember, at the high school, because we left real early on that Thursday morning. I think it was, or maybe it was Friday morning, we left real early. Anyhow, they had decorated my truck. It was all painted with state's championship stuff. But people were everywhere. And we really couldn't do much more after that, because the seniors had to be over to high school graduation within about the next hour or so.
I was going to say, what time did you guys get into town?
We got in probably, I don't know what time high school graduation started. We got into town probably about, I'd say an hour before they had to be there.
Wow.
And the girls all wore their medals and I think they wore them on top of their caps and gowns and stuff like that.
What exciting times that was for the Conneaut Spartans.
I remember that. Oh, like I said, I think of every one of those games and how the girls came through. The girls played loose. They were confident. They were loose. And then I was the one that was the the nervous maniac. I'm going like this, and they would be going, they'd be horsing around. After our championship game down in Ashland, we get done, and my family was all there, and they were hugging me and my sister and so on and so forth, and we were going back to the bus, and here's Hallie Baker and Stephanie Brown. They're swinging on the swings like two little elementary kids, and they come over to me and said, okay, now, who do we play next? Do we play Division I for the whole big championship? I said, no, we're done. They wanted to play again. They wanted to play Division I champion. So,
Well, hopefully someday the Conneaut Spartans will get another championship in one of the sports.
I
And
hope so. Yeah, I'm
so
so
our
glad.
grandchildren go to Edgewood. Let's,
I even take that. If that would happen with one of my grandkids, that'd be great. Yeah.
well, Clyde, this has been fun. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me. Very, very nice.
Clyde Laughlin was my guest today on Around the Town with Chuck. See you next week.